Hi, everyone, and welcome back to All Kill, a K-pop podcast where we talk about all things K-pop and all things KCON. I'm Kris.
And I'm Megan, and welcome back to episode 1 of our KCON retrospective, or I don't know what, but welcome back! Woo!
We're back, guys.
We're back.
Oh my gosh. So it's been almost a year since you guys have heard from us, like probably like a year and like 3 months. So let's be honest, it's like a year. And yeah, a lot has happened since we last spoke to you.
Lots of big changes in the KCON sphere, a lot of things just happening in the K-pop sphere, and we're just back to talk about it all, and it's just really exciting just doing this again.
I know. I'm super excited to talk about what happened last year. And yeah, that's basically what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about our experiences attending KCON New York 2019 last year, with it now moving to New York City.
Actually, New York.
So that's going to be what primarily we talk about today. So I think it's time for us to start our lovely travel back to the past.
Yes, so we'll take you back to the summer of 2019. Actually, way before that. Spring of 2019, when KCON announced that KCON New York would not be at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey anymore. Oh no. This year, they were taking things up a notch, and KCON would henceforth be at the Javits Center and Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Look at us. Did we ever think we would get here? Did we think we would be here by now?
No, we did not. I mean, you guys heard us last year. We did not think that was at all going to be possible. And to be quite honest, when it was announced that it was going to be at Madison Square Garden of Javits Center, it sent us into kind of a tailspin.
It really sent everyone into a tailspin. We are part of a few groups, and everyone was a little surprised. There were rumors floating around for the past few years that somehow it was going to move to New York, but just how fast it kind of happened was surprising. And of course, a lot of people were having certain concerns over things, but it went on. And at least for this episode, we're not going to really focus on things that were done well, things that could be better in the future. We're just going to really focus on our experience there and the things we did, the super awesome things we did.
Oh my God, yeah.
So let's just start with day 0, which was Friday. When I don't even remember when KCON was. It happened so long.
It was Friday. It was Friday. I think we got into the city
on Friday.
On Friday in that morning.
It definitely was. You know how I remember? I remember because I was live streaming Produce X 101 on the train.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the concept evaluations, and we were trying to like huddle on the train. People were probably looking at us like, what the hell?
Oh my God.
But no. So Friday, which stayed the same for the most part, that's the day that if you listen to our podcasts last year, on the day you could go pick up any engagement passes and get all of your stuff before the actual convention starts. So hence day 0.
Yes. And on that day, much like many others who were going to be attending KCON, we kind of very much like walked around like we were a bunch of lost puppies trying to figure out where the hell we had to go.
Oh yeah, I will not put any critiques right now, but I'm going to write that down to remind myself for the next episode. But
next episode. Yeah. We got in line to check in. We made some friends, which we always do. And when it was time, we all went in through the main door of the Javits Center, went down the escalators after going through a security check, and we got our benefits. And just like every other year in the past, your girls sat down and we got our stuff working, dude.
That was record time. Well, let's preface this by saying this. This year was a little wonky with how we did KCON. I actually only went to one day of KCON last year because because my family got Hamilton tickets on Sunday. So sorry, KCON,
Yes.
but Hamilton takes president. So I actually did not get any benefits engagements this year. I only did the convention ticket. Kris was the only one who got engagements and also attended both days of the convention, one day of the concert.
Yeah.
So we definitely didn't have as much to do this first day.
No.
But for trading wise, I mean, this was 30 seconds.
It was so fast because the girl who we met in line, um, essentially she didn't want the one group that I wanted for my high touch, and she wanted basically every other group that was attending. So very simple trade.
Ooh,
Um,
that was it. That was great.
yeah, it was fantastic. And then we sort of went with her and did all her trades because she had a lot more benefits than we did. And we banged it out. And we were probably done within about an hour to maybe 2 hours after we got our stuff.
Definitely closer to an hour, and that was mainly because we were just hanging out with her. You did have an extra audience that we were just kind of seeing if anybody would trade for, but no big
Yeah.
deal if did trade. So yeah,
I don't
we had
even
planned on.
remember who we were trying for with that audience.
I was trying to get Eyes One, so
Oh,
because that's
yeah.
what it was. Yeah. So for me
I
last
forgot.
year, yeah, I had bought a convention package, but I really was only interested in high touching New East if they did have one. They didn't end up having one, so I sold my package to somebody else. But with Kris's extra audience, I thought, if anybody's willing to trade something for Eyes One, I'd be open for it, but not a heartbreaker if I didn't. They're kind of a group that I did enjoy, but I didn't need, nor did I think they were kind of worth the whole benefits package that like made sense. So I was like, if somebody wants to sell it for a good price, I'm in, but if not, no thanks, which is a good thing because I saw on Twitter someone was like, I will pay like $300, and I'm like,
Oh my God, no.
thanks.
No.
So yeah, honestly, that was just wild. It like 30 seconds done.
Yeah.
So I can't
So
say the same for everyone else, but we
no.
were pretty lucky in that regard.
No, there were a few people who we saw looked very panicked,
Mhm.
um, and would do the circle 5 or 6 times around and around trying to get what they wanted. And it was very nice this particular year not really having to worry about it.
Mhm.
Um, because we like as long as I got my one thing, we really were just like everything else was kind of gravy on top of it.
Yep.
Um, so that's kind of how our first day zero went for us. We didn't go to Club KCON, like we pretty much never go any year. Um, I had bought the pass, but I didn't go because I never go. Um, I need to stop buying it. I need to stop buying that pass. Next time, if you guys hear me talking about buying a Club KCON pass, just like message me on
No,
Twitter and be like,
just
"No,
no.
Kris, no." And then we went and we got barbecue.
Oh yeah, all you can eat barbecue, baby.
So good.
So good.
So good.
And then so day one,
Oh my
Saturday.
God.
So before we talk about day one, let's just go over the Javits Center in general. Again, no critiques, but just so you
No.
guys have an idea of how the layout was, because this is where it's different from the Prudential Center. So if you've been to KCON New York at Prudential Center, everything is on the streets. They have
Yeah.
blocks blocked off. Everything's
Hmm.
just out in the open in the July and June heat.
Yeah.
Javits Center,
It's essentially it's on the road or it's in the various like pay for parking areas around the Javits Center.
yeah, it's hot.
Mm.
It's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Javits Center is a little bit of an upgrade. So Javits Center just holds the convention, just the convention, not the concert. It's all indoors, all air conditioning, all indoor plumbing. Snaps.
We stand.
We stand the Javits Center. Oh my God. It was honestly such a great change.
Yeah.
So the way the Javits Center is when you walk in the main gates, let's call it level 2. Because that's really what it is. There's a level 2 that you're on. To get
Yeah.
to all of the different parts of the convention, you have to go down stairs or escalators.
Mm-hmm.
And every part of the convention is in kind of a different section that you have to go down a different escalator for. So if you want to go to like the convention with the booths, that's one escalator. If you want to go down to the panels, that's a different one, and the engagement's a different one. So
Hmm.
just kind of imagine you're going up and down, up and down. But again,
Picture like just a board game of shoots and ladders, and that's essentially what
basically
you have to do that day.
it is. Or if it's like you're just perusing through the mall and you just can't decide what store you want to go to. So you're on the second floor, first floor. You never go to, I don't even know if there's a third floor. I think there is, but we don't know. You're basically on kind of the main
Yeah,
level or the bottom
yeah, because
basement section.
the third floor was where everyone was lining up for the day. The second floor was like that main concourse level where they had like the charging stations.
Okay.
And then the first floor was like where the artist engagements and like the convention was. So that's kind of like the tiers.
Yep. So just to give you an idea, I'm sure there's pictures somewhere, but definitely if you're interested in going next year, just get an idea of what the layout looks like.
Yeah, and it's completely see-through. Like when you are
Yeah, there's all
walking by
glass.
the Javits Center, you can totally see through the glass and see everything going on. So it's fairly easy for you to get an idea of how to navigate the space.
Yep. And again, we will talk more about this in the next episode about things that went well, what didn't.
Yeah.
So let's just move on to we are in the space.
Yes.
Do we
So
want to talk
we get
about line?
Yeah, so we're going to
Okay.
briefly mention the line. We're going to go more in detail about the line in the next episode because it's part of our critiques. But there was a very long line to get in at the beginning of the day. And because I have a particular ADA concern, um, and I can't really stand for that long in line in like one solitary place, otherwise I will pass out. Um, or my legs will fall off, whatever. Um, we got down uh into the convention floor pretty quickly
Hmm.
after speaking with a security guard. But we'll go more into detail about exactly what happened later.
Yeah.
Um, and then once we were inside the convention center, it was amazing. It was all set up inside, and it was like there's booths, and there's air conditioning, and there's lighting, and there's bathrooms, and it's fantastic because
I
it's
will
so
not
different from what we're used
not
to.
talk about like the bathrooms with actual like working water. It's fantastic.
And
Once
like water fountains,
water fountains,
free
that to be
water
fair,
fountains.
not all of them were like good. Some of
No,
them were like you hit the button and the water just is like spitting out. But you know what?
you know
You
what?
just find another water fountain. It's fine.
We're not gonna be beggars or choosers in this
Oh
situation.
no, no, no. It will
No.
be great.
So
So
we have a lot to talk about, and we're gonna try and get this all done within about an hour. So we have to keep the pace moving.
yes.
Um,
So let's go on with really the first thing that happened. So
yes. So
if you
we go ahead.
okay. So if you've listened to our other KCON podcasts, uh, we've talked about the Toyota booth many times. And in the past, the Toyota booth has always been kind of like the thing you get the best stuff with. So, first thing we did was, of course, go to the Toyota booth.
Oh yeah.
So, that was the first thing we did. We like jumped right on that line.
Yeah, we literally were like, oh, there's like zero line at the Toyota booth. Why don't we just walk right over there?
Hmm. So, I don't even know if I can remember this. So, the first part of the Toyota booth always has a lot of giveaways. So that's really the reason you want to go. So
There
the
was like the
first part
luggage tag.
that was the luggage tag attached to the other thing?
It was like the survey, and then there was the
Yeah.
luggage tag, and then you had to go into the car,
And
and
then
then while they were printing your luggage tag, you could like play with buttons
right. So
inside the car.
yeah, so with the Toyota booth, you have to fill out a survey and it basically just asks you questions just so Toyota can send you marketing and stuff. Once you do that, you do like this luggage tag, you design your little luggage tag and you can actually get it, which is kind of cool.
I didn't
After
get mine.
I didn't get mine either, honestly. I think I designed it and then we forgot.
Well,
Um,
we got a little caught up in something that we're going to tell you about in a sec.
very exciting. Um, so what ended up happening was you go into kind of the second part of the line, which after you fill out the survey, you wait in this line to like get into one of Toyota's new cars. And you're not like driving it this time around.
No.
You're in an indoor convention, so it's kind of just parked there. And we got in. Kris got in on the driver's side. I was in the
Yeah.
passenger side, and
We're
they just
pressing
were like,
buttons, and we're like seeming like we're having a good time because they're playing
I don't
K-pop
know, they're just
music.
like they're like, I don't know, just play with this car. So we're just looking around and we're like, I don't know. Inside, I don't know. This is a theory of mine. I don't even know if this is true. Inside the car, there's like a little piano, like an electric piano. I don't know why this is in the car, but I start pressing buttons and it started making noises. And the reason I did this was because I saw somebody ahead of us do it. And then this guy looked like they gave him something. So I'm like, oh, that might be a giveaway. I'm just pressing random buttons. I don't know what I'm doing. Then all of a sudden, was it your side or my side? This guy
It
like
was my
popped
side. It was my side. The guy like popped in. He was like the head of the entire booth area.
like,
And
hey,
he just goes, "Do you guys like the boys?" And we're like, I mean, yeah.
sure. It honestly was
I
so
didn't like even think
funny.
about the fact that the boys were like a group. I just thought that he just meant the boys
You
in
like the
general.
boys? And we're like, sure, we like
Yeah.
boys.
And then he just goes, "Stay here," and then hands us these two pieces of paper, and we want to meet and greet with the boys.
Want to meet and greet with the boys. We don't know exactly what the hell we did. Some people in this
No,
car didn't get it. Some people did, but
my
all
theory, my theory is that it was very fast approaching the time where this was going to be
that is
happening,
also
and
true.
they just had to give away the passes so that way they had enough people to make it look like it was this big thing because at this
Exactly right.
point there was still a huge line outside and not a lot of
Yeah.
people had gotten in and they had
This was
this thing
right in time.
scheduled.
One of the first
So
things that
yeah, so I'm guessing we were just one of the few people who got to get into the car at that early point in the morning.
and maybe
And
we hit a special button. I'm telling you, it's something with the buttons. There's no reason for this electric piano to be like plugged into this car unless they had something to do with it. I
I
don't
don't know,
know.
maybe it like
Long
controlled the
story
features of the car. I don't know.
sweet, that'd be cool. But long story short, the first thing that happens to KCON for us is we win meet and greet passes with the boys and
Which
the
includes
KCON,
a photo.
which includes a photo.
And the girls
So
around us were all freaking out, and you and me aren't like the biggest boys fans. We just like saw them in Korea when we were there. So like everyone else was freaking out around us, and we're just like, it's gonna be fun.
hell yeah. I mean, anytime we get a chance to meet an idol, we're gonna go ham anyway. Even if we don't know them as well, we're gonna hype the frick up.
Oh yeah, and like we went
So
over to Kevin and we were like, "Yo, we saw you in Korea," and he was
oh
like,
yeah.
"Yo, really?"
Yeah. So once we got the passes, there was a time on it where we had to be back. And I don't, did we even go
We didn't
anywhere or
even
did we just,
leave. We literally
yeah,
just
it
like
was,
went over into the other part of the line.
yeah. So the way this was set up was the one part had like the car and it was roped off. And then the other part that was roped off was this dance floor and a DJ station. So there was quite a few dance floors. So one of the dance floors was going, people were starting to come around, and you could kind of tell something was going to happen because a lot of staff members started showing up. One of the MCs was there, and other staff members were telling us it's going to be groups of five. Let me check
Five.
the picture.
It was like
I
4 to 5.
yeah, 4 to 5. So we were only two, so we got in with a group of
Three. It
three
was
girls.
3 girls who were all friends, who
Yeah.
like all
So
managed to get it together. I
and
think they
then
were just before us too.
yeah. Yep, so there was 5. I got the picture right here. So what happened was the boys came out on the dance floor. Everybody's freaking out. They're adorable. They answer some questions. They get real hyped. We honestly couldn't hear very well because
Yeah.
there's a lot of screaming around us and the speakers were facing away from us. So I
And
had no
we're
idea
old
what they were
ladies and
saying.
have bad hearing.
That also is true. So right when they're done speaking, then they invite, we were the first group, us to go up. So we walk over to them
And like the girls
and
in our group like pushed us forward. They
oh
made like
yeah,
the
they
two of
were
us
like, you
go
guys gotta go
first.
first.
They
We're
were
like, oh
like,
no,
we can't handle this. You guys gotta go first.
we're walking up, we're like, hey, hi. And oh my gosh, they were so cute.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the picture right now that we have. So we're off to the left side. We're
Over by like
by
Kevin.
Kevin Haknyeon, we're
Yeah.
by, and they're really cute. They're, smiling and waving.
And like we
So
stand Hakyeon during his season of Produce 101. We like
yeah.
stand Hakyeon in this household and like the fact that we got to see him like super up close and be like, "Yo, what's up?"
Yes. So
So
they were hella tall now that I'm looking at this. Actually, no, wait, we're squatting. But
we're
anyway,
we're squatting and also we're short. So
speak for yourself. I'm a good 3 inches taller than you.
yeah.
Anyway, this poor guy's getting blocked. And
But
I'm just looking at this picture.
that was basically the whole thing. And then we were ushered off to the side after collecting our stuff. And then we waited in this area until the boys went past again, um, from security, and then we like waved bye to them again,
Hmm.
and that was it. That was kind of the whole thing at the Toyota booth. So
It was really quick, like
yeah,
2 minutes all together with the pictures and everything. But again, it was just really exciting meeting them up close. So
yeah.
that just
So
kind of like
moral of the
set the weekend.
story, moral of
Do
the
everything.
story, get to the convention early, get in
Yeah.
the convention early,
Mhm.
and go straight to the Toyota booth because something is going to happen there super early in the morning. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking, but she's like freaking out. So
Yes. That's okay. So that was the first thing we did. The rest of it's gonna be a blur. Okay. So really after that, let's
we like
talk
hung
about
out.
let's talk about how the convention was set up. So let's say there was 5 or 6 big booths,
Yeah.
main attraction. So the Toyota booth was one of them. There was another big dance floor where they were doing cover dances and dance classes.
Yeah, that was
The
all the way on the other side of the convention
Yeah.
floor.
Then there was the stage, which I don't even remember what
The
the
main,
actual
like
title
the
was.
KCON main
The main.
stage, and that's where they had like the rookie stages and the interviews and all that stuff.
Yep. Then there was the what was the box called?
The KCON studio. It was just like
Studio.
it was like a glass
A
box
glass.
literally in the middle of the convention, which like whoever thought of that, that was a
That's okay, but
horrible idea.
we'll save it for
Sorry.
the
Sorry.
critiques.
I had to say that just right now. But it was a glass box in the middle of the convention where they would be recording these like videos that would go on to KCON's like YouTube channel later. Um, and that's where all like the various artists would go in and record things.
Yep.
And then on the other side was like the M Countdown stuff and then the
Yep.
Star Square.
Yep. And
Um,
then all scattered throughout were other smaller booths. So there was like some travel agencies, some makeup booths. There was a few places that were selling albums. There were what else was there? There was like
there was like
McDonald's was there. There was
yeah,
like an ice
McDonald's
cream place
was there and they were
too.
having like this like game thing. And like what's his face? Stephen Lim from
Mm,
BuzzFeed was there for
yeah.
some reason. And like there was that traditional village area.
Hmm.
There was like a bunch of tables set up for you to sit and eat the food that apparently was there.
We'll save that for later as
Save that
well.
for later. And there was like a bunch of other like photo areas where you can go and take photos for various social media needs.
Yeah.
Um,
The
and
one
we just
thing,
kind of like rotated through.
yeah, there was a ton of giveaways like every year. So really between after we did the meet and greet, between when we were thinking about going to panels or something, just walk around, see who's giving away stuff. Some people have like the spinning wheel where you spin a wheel and you might land on, it could be a freebie. It could be some places were giving out audience passes or high touches. Other places were like take a picture, put it on your Instagram, and you could win something. We
Yeah,
did one from one of the travel agencies where it's like win a round trip to Korea. So we
we
did
lost.
yeah, we did not win a round trip to Korea, but we played the game anyway. So there was a lot to do. I remember the Produce 101 kind of booth where they had circles of the top 31 trainees, I believe it was, and you could like pose with some of the circle pictures of them. So that was really cool.
And
They
be like,
were
yo, these my boys.
these my boys. Which I wish I could go back and like just have like 10 more of them, but
There was an area also over there where you can hold an M Countdown trophy
yes, there
and
was.
like
That
take a
was
photo
really
like
cool.
you just won the top song of the week, which we
Yeah,
didn't do, which we totally should have done
sure. Next year. Next
next
year.
year. Next year.
Uh,
Um, and that's kind of we kind of like cycled through because like KCON had this like bingo thing that they were doing that we were trying to
right.
win.
Mhm.
Um, and kind of after we got done doing a lot of our bingo stuff, one of our friends, who may be coming on to the podcast later for some of our KCON series, Rose had actually won a spot at Star Square, which if you don't know what Star Square is, I am not talking very well today. Star Square. It is like essentially this thing where they have the artists come and they'll do like a Q&A and then they'll take some photos with some of the fans and you can kind of there's like barricades where you can kind of stand around and watch this whole thing happen. And essentially in order to get Star Square, you have to buy a certain amount of merch. I
Yeah.
believe it was $100 for a chance last year. So if you wanted, there was essentially 10 Star Square opportunities and not every opportunity meant that you were going to meet an idol. But in order to get all 10 opportunities, you would then have to spend $1,000 in merch, which, like, God bless you if you're spending $10,000 in merch.
Yeah,
A
it's one
thousand,
of
not
those
10,000. 1,000, not 10,000.
thousand, yeah. It was one of those classic KCON things where it's like you gotta pay to play. But our friend did get it.
Yeah.
So since she was doing it, we decided to hang out by Star Square because we saw them actually starting to set up the barricades, which again, if you see a barricade being set up, go.
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 Don't even care who it is, just go,
No,
because
go.
you never know who it could be.
Yeah. So we spent like a half hour, 45 minutes just hanging out by Star Square. And as the barricades were being set up, more people were kind of coming. We were right in the front, right in the middle. And mainly we said we were going to do it so we could take pictures and record our friend who was going.
Well, there was
And
rumors it was going to be newest.
yeah, somebody started a rumor it was going to be Newies. And I was like, if this is the only chance I'm getting to see Newies, I'm going. It wasn't.
It was
I
not.
was
It was
surprised.
not
No.
newest.
But pleasantly surprised though, because this is the second group of the day we didn't know much about, but ended up falling in love with, and that was 80s.
Oh my God.
80s,
Oh
they
my
were
God, that was such a
so
good
cute.
experience.
They were
Okay.
so cute.
So I'm going to take the helm on this because there
Okay,
was a
go for it.
particular thing that happened with me with a particular member of ATs that I want to highlight. So we were pretty much front center on barricade for
Mhm.
this AT's Star Square experience. And essentially what happened was the entire area behind us slowly started to fill up with these girls
Yeah,
who I guess knew ATs was coming because it was a bunch of ATs fans. And
they just knew.
they just knew. And I was tasked with filming for my friend, which I did a horrible job, and I am very sorry that I did a horrible job. Um, and so we see our friend, we wave, we go, "Oh my God, hi!" And so when ATs came out, we were like, "Oh, sweet, it's ATs. We don't know who they are." Um,
We didn't know who they were back then. We
no,
had kind of an idea, but we weren't like
we were like, "Oh, this is like the big group that's attending KCON this year."
correct.
That wasn't like newest or 17. Awesome.
I'm watching the
And
videos right now. Oh my God, they're so
and
cute.
and so they come out, a lot of them stop kind of right in front of us, and we just start, like
We're like,
chatting.
hey.
We're like
So
we're like just like, "What up, dude?"
like, how are you doing? I did know the one at the time, Hongjun. I did know Hongjun. So he was always right in front of us. And
Yeah.
just because that was kind of the middle and he was doing most of the talking. So he definitely, oh, the other thing, one of the staff members gave us the AT's banner to hold.
Oh, yes, that was like halfway through their interview though. So like
Uh,
yeah, she like came over and she was like, "Hold this
hold
for the
this.
picture later."
And we're
And we're
like,
like,
okay, we'll do
"Okay.
that.
Okay." Um so they come over and um Hongjun is talking a lot and he is very flustered because I guess like English isn't like his strong suit. Um
He did such a
and
good job, though, with
I know,
support.
and at one point he like looks over to us for support because we're like the two people in the crowd who like aren't completely losing their minds. And I think either you or I just yell out, "You're doing amazing, sweetie."
We probably both did. That's such a thing we would do, though. And he did smiley, and I just get happy now. I
And
wish
now
I could
that's
go
her
back.
bias.
One of them.
One of them, same.
Yeah.
Same. And then okay, the other thing that happened that was very specific to me. So the theme for Star Square this particular year was astrological signs. So they had the birth dates of everyone who was attending sorted by their astrological sign.
Mhm.
I am a very proud Leo. My birthday is August 8th, and it is the same day as Sung Chul from 17. And apparently not knowing at the time, Minji from ATs was born on August 9th, and he was a Leo too. So at one point they're talking and they're like, everyone go by where your horoscope is. And he is the only Leo in the entire group. So he's directly across from me. I somehow ended up directly across from my horoscope, and he somehow ended directly across from me. And I do the two fingers at the eyes thing at him, and he catches me, and he's just like, "Yo, we're both Leos." And then all of a sudden he just like starts doing like rar things, and I'm like, "Awesome, rar, we're Leos. We're awesome. We're the lions."
That's how
Um
he became your bias.
yeah, that's how he became my bias, and we just like hung out and became friends, and we slowly just interacted throughout the entire thing, and it was real cute. Um so that
Ooh,
happened.
wait, okay. So then they take pictures, right? They take pictures with the people who won the Star Square meet and greet. So they're like right next to them. Shout out to that one random dad. Do you remember
Yes!
the one
The
random
one random
dad?
older dad who just was like fully there for it, but also like had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, there was, there's the fans who are much younger, and then this dad is just there, and he's rocking it. Honestly, props to him. But I just remembered the dad. We're
And
all like,
it was so
"Dad!"
good. And then the
Yeah,
photo happens, and we're holding up this banner for no apparent reason. Um and
they did take a picture with them
yeah.
facing the other way, right? Like,
Yeah, they took a photo with us holding the banner like behind them. And then the thing is over, and the woman was like right in front of us, and then she just kind of leaves, and
so we're like,
she and she's
guess
like,
we
"This
got a
is
banner.
yours," and I was like, "Okay, so this is mine now." Um, so
We got a banner.
I just randomly got like a $40 ATEEZ banner for free.
Those banners are expensive. Oh
Yeah,
god. But that was a really awesome experience. That again, we did not plan, but just
no,
happened to fall on our laps, and I'm very glad it did.
that's the benefit of going to KCON without like a set plan and just like
Yeah,
hanging
with
out the convention all day.
an open mind. And again, we're people who are like, we have our bias groups, but you could put me in a room that's actually kind of creepy. You can put, and how do I say this? I'm open to meeting any idol. So I don't care if they're big,
You're
small,
here
whatever.
for any and all representation of whatever kind.
I am. And, there's two groups that I didn't really know beforehand, but I was a fan of leaving. So, yay.
Yes. So besides doing all our lovely things with our idols, we also got to attend some panels. And the one panel in particular that we attended was the K-pop debate with our lovely friends, YSG, Your Sweet Guys, Alana and
Yes.
Peggy. And that was super fun.
It was so
And
much fun.
we were we were in the first group who went up, and we lost horribly.
Oh yeah, we did not do a very good job on the
We
panel.
crashed and burned.
I think we would have done well if we had gone up against any other group, but the other group, she was just too powerful.
No, 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 no. You weren't in the room for when the dude did his rap battle for the second,
No, I was not. I was not.
and it was just magical. Like we met this guy back at our very first K-pop concert, and
Right.
we like met him randomly on like the train
Yes,
platform,
to New
but it
York.
was just another level of amazing, and they were up against each other in the finals, and it was so good. Oh my god. So that was just a really fun time, and we got to hang out with Lana and Peggy a little bit after the panel was over, and like it was a fun time for all.
Yeah, we kind of dipped in and out of a few other panels, but mainly we wanted to spend our time at the convention.
Yeah.
But if there's a panel that interests you, always go.
Yeah. I went the next day by myself, just so that way we can wrap up the convention part of the entire conversation. I went the next day by myself. It was very strange for me because I've always had either Megan or our friend Emily with me at all times, no matter kind of where I went. Um, so that day, again, arrived super early, got into the convention super early because of my ADA concern. Um, went around to the various booths looking for freebie stuff, and I was gifted with a very, very high touch at the very first booth that I went to. And
Woo!
it was legitimately 15 minutes from when it started. So I bolted over to where it was. And that was kind of the beginning of when I got to experience some of the high touches that was going on at KCON that year. For the ADA section, for those of you who are in need of it, it is at the very front of the high touch pit. So there are like two separate pits for the artist engagements. There's a artist engagement pit behind the high touch pit, and then the high touch pit is kind of right up against. There's like a good maybe like 10 feet between you and the stage, but like you're essentially right up against the stage. And then the ADA section is right in front. So I'm right in front of the stage and I'm seeing Very Very. And to be quite honest, I had no idea who they were yet again. But, it was a fantastic experience. I like go up on stage and like I chat with the girl who was emceeing the event and she had like this really cute dress. So I'm like, yo, cute dress, where you get it? And she like told me where the dress was from and like we became friends and it was cool. And then I high touched the boys and I run down. And yeah, that was kind of the whole experience for Very Very. And then right after Very Very was the I-DLE High Touch, which was my goal at the beginning of KCON. So I was looking forward to this like mad hype. And so I go right back over and I say, hey, I have this ADA concern. I need an area where I can sit down during the artist engagement. And the guy who's running the artist engagements for KCON, specifically KCON staff, not the venue staff, is like, oh, go sit over there. And then when it's time, we'll bring you in. So something happens. I'll talk about it in the critiques later. But I was brought in to where the high touch was, except it was only me. The entire room was empty. And and I was in there for a solid like 15 minutes all by myself besides security. And I sent photos to Megan just for proof. And I was like, yo, I'm in here by myself.
It was really weird, like, seeing it empty. I've never seen an engagement empty, and there was no one.
I was just like dancing to myself because they were playing Senorita every 3 minutes. And I was just like, do, 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 do. And then like Yuna would come on screen and I'd be like, yo, Yuna. So the artist engagement happened. I lost my mind. And then I met I-DLE and I got to tell them that I was at their debut showcase, and that like made my entire year.
Yay!
And then the rest of the convention, I went over, talked to the girl who won the overall debate thingy, the girl with the really high voice from the debate, hung out with her for like a solid hour. And then I hung out with YSG for the rest of the day because they were super nice and they adopted me when I was homeless. Uh, which is what I call myself when I have no friends to go through the convention. I was homeless for the day. So they were super nice to me and I very much appreciate it. And you guys were awesome. And yeah, if you're listening, thank you.
Yeah. And that is the convention. So we had a really great time.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll talk more about what we think could be better next episode. But let's move on to the concert. So, Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never been to Madison Square Garden, it's very similar to the Prudential Center in the way it's set up, sized a little bigger, but overall, if you've been to the Prudential Center, you've been to Madison Square Garden, just in different places, obviously. So I didn't go to the concert because I just didn't feel like I needed to. So Kris is going to take the reins on this one because she went the second day for her girls and her boys. So
yes. So when the convention was over, essentially once like 4:30, 5 o'clock hit, we all kind of disbanded and we went our separate ways.
Why did you have to use that word?
What? Disbanded? I'm sorry.
Why did you have
too soon? Too soon.
Anyway, continue.
Sorry. We're still very upset from X1.
Anyway.
I grabbed some dinner at like a local Five Guys right next to where Madison Square Gardens was. I dropped off some of my stuff back at the hotel with my bags. And yeah, once like 5:30 came around, it was kind of like time for me to get in line to go inside. I went over to the side where I believed my section was. It was all in the sun, and we essentially just sat on the pavement outside of Madison Square Garden by this like random entrance on like a side road. Some dude, random story, but like some dude came up to me and was like, "Yo, my friend just like got into a taxi with my phone. Can I use your phone to call my friend?" And I was like, "Nah." And I kept walking. So some dude tried to
That's
steal my
the
phone.
right answer. The right answer.
Yes, girls, boys, whoever is listening, non-binary friends. If someone comes up to you, no matter where you are in the city, and says, "Hey, someone just ran away with my phone. Can I borrow your phone to get my phone back?" Say no and walk away quickly.
That's right.
Safety tip from us to you. So we wait outside on the pavement. I watch some YouTube videos and I keep to myself and I try and keep myself cool and not sunburned by using my bag as like an umbrella because I didn't have one because I'm stupid. Um, and eventually they let us in and we go through security and we walk up like this back staircase area up to where security is. And security was like a lot more lenient than Prudential was,
Mm.
strangely, which like doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, go to my seat, make some friends with the guys I'm sat next to because I bought my ticket off this girl who was there the night prior. Um, and yeah, then the concert starts and some not so great stuff happens, and I end up on the floor after my seat. Um, and I see the what was it? World Class Boys. They were there.
Whatever happened to them?
They debuted,
They
but
did?
apparently I think the show like ended and like people it like they debuted and like for whatever reason it just got lost in the whole controversy with everything
Mm.
with Produce 101.
Okay.
But they were there and like
Okay.
they like saw me like sobbing and I felt horrible because I thought that was actually like the Produce 101 boys and I was like, "Oh no." I was like, "Yuvin and Suhwan, and like everyone's gonna see me crying, and I can't deal with this." But then it was just the world class boys, and I was like, "But still, I don't want to see anyone crying." Um, so eventually, I was brought up to this ADA section, and that's where I see I-DLE perform, and they do all that jazz, and it was real good. And I see 17 perform, and I go full out for 17, full out. It was amazing. Um, they do Getting Closer and they do um Aju Nice. Never ending their first never ending Aju Nice. The very first one they ever did was at KCON in New York and they do Never Ending Aju Nice and it was fantastic. Um and there's like famous videos of them like going down the stairs to like go back inside and they come back up and it was amazing. And yeah, then the concert was over and I go back and get my stuff and I go home. So that was kind of the concert.
So that was the weekend. So let's say just overall experience, what would you say? Just
Overall, I would say KCON 2019 was very different, but very
hmm
positive.
yeah. I think there were a lot of positive experiences we had, but that's very similar to every KCON I feel like we go to. We just kind of get into these wild situations and it really makes the weekend for us. Without those experiences, I'm sure we would have like more negative things to say. But the convention, at least the part that I went to, I had a really good time. And I'm sure the concert was great as well if you enjoyed the artists that went. So yeah, I think next episode we'll talk more about this, but while we did enjoy it, there's many, many, many things that KCON
Yeah.
can improve on. As they do every year, but we again we'll talk about that more next time.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely criticisms that we're going to talk about next time in both the convention and the concert as well.
hmm
Like both facets always need improvements. And I think even if something like in my opinion, I just went to 17th concert last week. And even there was still stuff that needed to be improved upon, even though it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. So nothing's ever perfect. There's always room for improvement. So that's something definitely that we're going to talk about next week, probably
Mm.
in our critiques and criticisms episode for KCON. And hopefully they listen to us and improve for it for this year because we are very much looking forward to it. So we will definitely be seeing you all next week.
Yeah, so we'll see you next time. And again, this is Megan.
And this is Kris. Go follow us at All Kill Podcast on Twitter.
Yep, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.